So good afternoon, everyone. This is the beginning of our Confluence. Colleen here and I have been working on this for a year. And this afternoon, we're going to start with a talk from Khushboo Kantharia from Bangalore, India, who's going to talk with us about the recovery of the feminine in India. And looking forward to it. So
Yes.
hopefully she'll come on our Zoom call quite soon and we'll be ready to go. Okay. All right.
I have had 2 or 3 conversations with Khushboo about her creative process. She's a writer. She's also a dog lover. She has 13 dogs. Because she knows that if she takes them to the Humane Society, she can be put down, so she can't bear to do that. So she's got a lot of company. And then she's also operating Suicide Prevention Bureau, isn't she, on her
Well,
own?
she's the lead preventer.
Mm-hmm.
And when they have somebody that they really think is going to pull the trigger, it's not pull the trigger, probably hang themselves in India. They put her on the line and she talks them down.
Because she's been quite involved and quite a voice.
Right.
Yeah.
And recently she's started a new business, which is she's baking dog biscuits, specialized dog biscuits. And she started to cook them and deliver them. And now she has orders for 10 kilograms a week of these dog biscuits that are handmade with her loving care. And I think she's got 1 employee so far for that.
Oh my gosh.
And she's it's really cooking. But
That's great.
when I called her just now, it's midnight or it's 20 to 12 in Bangalore, and so I think she fell asleep. She said she wasn't feeling very well today and has a temperature. So let's hope that she can come online. There she is.
Hey.
Hi, Khushboo.
Hello.
Hi, Khushboo.
Good evening. Thank you for coming on with us.
Can we turn it over to Deb in here? Deb, do you want to say hi?
Hi, Khushboo. It's Debbie.
There's my wife,
And Leah.
Debbie, and Leah,
Hi, Khushboo.
And
Wally.
and Wally.
handling the camera.
Hi.
Hi.
And so, Khushboo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on speaker view, which will mean that only you will be on the screen while you're speaking. Okay. And are you ready to go?
Yeah.
And you don't want me to share a screen for you, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to change the view.
Hello. There are 2-3 things I'm right now not at the kind of energy level you guys probably expect me to be. But I'm not gonna try to be enthusiastic right now because I'm not. I had a slight I had to make change in what I'm gonna say because I have this conscious like when something is communicated and something is performance, the moment there is a camera and recording and everything, it invites us to be, then it's a show. then it's a show for the audience and not a communication. So I am mindful of it, and uh, yeah, yeah. So
This is your
since
friends,
since this
Khushboo, this is your friends here, so uh, we're not expecting anything special from you. Um, you know, just let's make it a communication by all means, please.
Maybe I can help a little bit here, that we had our conversations, Khushboo, and I know that you've been an independent woman and have walked your own life and have paid the price of that and are still doing that. And to hear about your life and what you're thinking is very special. I'd like to know what you had to say today.
Thank you. So about this confluence, like when in my introduction in the article, I was introduced as a one person suicide prevention unit kind of a thing, and that was, let's say, it was unwise. It was unwise to a bit glorified also. But then I think that's what artists do. And it was a good reminder for me that that's what artists do. They take a teeny tiny part and then represent it the way they want, which is absolutely all right. Um, and I think that is the question I want to, in the time that I have been given, I want to put forward that what's the limitation of indulgence, artistic indulgence? Because ultimately it is for the people, right? The art that we create, yes, for sure, it is inner channeling and everything that is in our psyche, sometime unresolved, wanting to be expressed. And I asked that, and I put that question forward with immense seriousness. um, what are those boundaries? Because all the massive, for an example, it was absolutely necessary uh, in the Nazi regime. It was absolutely necessary to have, for Hitler to have those artistic minded people to carve certain kind of symbols, to um, present their campaign, certainly spread their campaign, certainly, so that it can reach. So it would have been of course it would have been impossible with people who have that instinct to kill, but it would also have been impossible without all those artistic minded people who were convinced. And so that's a one aspect of it. I give you another example. um I had a Joker. Have you guys know a movie Joker? Um, so when the latest version of that movie released, which have Joaquin Phoenix, when I saw that movie, I internalized it. And something in me um I went on that journey. I went on that journey in my psyche. I had a dream of killing people um, the way it is shown in the movie. Just that the third, I didn't kill three people, I killed two people in my dream, and the third one was dog, so I didn't kill. That's how my psyche was um, processing it. But in the earlier adaptation, screen adaptation of it, the I think it was huge youth ledger. That artist, when he played that role, he internalized it and ultimately he killed himself. Lots of other artists um, kill themselves. It's very normal to know, because there is something that is coming out. Sure, it is coming out, but it is not nurturing life. Of course, it is giving us some kind of psychic awareness, reality of certain state outside, but it is not nurturing life. It is taking life. It is showing it is allowing us to see shadow or the darkness or the beast so closely that it is taking us over. So, where is the boundary? What is the boundary? Because you guys are exploring the artistic instinct, the depth um, of this subject, but still it is intellectual. Still, it is all mind level, and that is and that is what I want to I want to talk about Indian mythology. In Indian mythology, we over and over come to the point in all the stories, come to the point where retrieval of divine feminine is observed. The more deeply we look into these stories, the feminine aspect of the deity commits suicide for the way it is treated in the world. Sometimes the deity is not given respect enough. In the example of Shiva and Shakti, in the example of Sati and Shiva, uh, her husband is not invited and not given respect the way it was supposed to, because he was wild and not enough domesticated for whatever reason to be invited, and she goes and give the ultimate sacrifice in the sacrificial fire, and the ultimate sacrifice is herself. In another story, which is story of Sri Ram, which is the in that story, when the world is questioning, the society is questioning purity of the divine feminine of that particular story, that is Sita Mata, which is a daughter of earth, which is also a goddess of wealth, incarnated on the earth. When her purity is questioned, she retrieves. She go back to the earth. The wealth goddess going back to the earth, and because she is gone, um, the God that is there, which is Sri Ram. So he walks into river Yamuna, and he says to his people that because she's gone, I have to go. Yes, I am God, but without her, I'm nothing, and I have to. And he also, so why this? Why in a mythological story, the god that is supposed to sustain the world is giving up the incarnation, that the physical incarnation that he's in, giving it up, and we are worshipping him, we are fighting on his name, but we are forgetting that why he had to leave his body behind. In another word, why your god committed suicide? Why don't we contemplate upon that? So all of these stories are fundamentally telling suppression of the divine feminine. The divine feminine is also seen as a creative instinct. So there is a saying that in Hindi it's called Shiv bina Shakti hai Shav. It means Shiv without Shakti is dead body. So when you put your hand here, and the warmth that you feel, the heartbeat, the rhythm that you experience, that is Shakti. And without that, this body is dead body. If it is there, then it's Shiva, the supreme consciousness, embodiment of a supreme consciousness. But without that, it's a dead body. So the artistic instinct that we are talking about here is essential for any kind of expression, like bare minimum, but it is also essential for all the rhythms that we participate in, or all the rhythms that we are subject to for being alive. But the moment it is suppressed, it doesn't fight for survival. It's not in its base nature to retrieve from that situation. That is in her base nature, and that is why I think that is the most closest I have ever come to understand where the suicidal instincts are coming from. It's the same space as a creative instinct, but because it is suppressed energy, it wants to retrieve.
I'm sorry, Khushboo, I couldn't hear the word. It's the same space as what instinct?
It's the same space as where suicidal instincts are coming from. It's the same space where, but it's also the birthplace of our, not even birthplace, the zone where our creativity is sustained, the space there, our the space that is subject of all those rhythms, that the rhythm of a sun and a moon, a rhythm of a river, a rhythm of a season, a rhythm of a heart, a rhythm of inhale and exhale. They are, and so I'm just trying to paint two sides of when it is suppressed, it's not going to fight, it's going to retrieve. It's same as When we are not in a good space, we don't want to talk with that person. We want to retrieve.
So
Like,
you're talking about returning to the earth, that when you're not in a good space, you want to, you're saying that from an Indian perspective, uh, the suicide is um, returning to the earth, to leave that space that's not working for you and to go on to another life. Is that right?
exaggerated, it's not described it that way. It is very subtle.
Yeah,
It
right.
is extremely subtle. It's not painted in those strong strikes that you present.
Uh-huh. Right.
Um,
But the point is that Shiva and Shakti are a couple and they have to operate together, right? Shakti represents the energy of life and Shiva represents uh, the logos, I guess we would say. And with the logos without energy is
mm,
dead, has no.
yeah, bare minimum. Bare minimum is what you are explaining. That's the most bare minimum.
Right.
Um, yeah, so all our animalistic instincts, like collective animalistic instincts, including the dog that might can bark, and they all belongs to Shiva. Shiva is called Pashupati Nath. It means that he have husbandry relationship with anything that is animal. Uh, so including our animalistic, whatever part that is animalistic in us, and it is not tabooed. Like, uh, um, it's not taboo. Like, because the way it is presented, and especially like from the American lens, natural nails are also not well groomed enough. so so yeah. um but I want to circle it, wrap it in a in the space where I started. Robert Downey Jr. speaks about this quite well. I'm not that genius to express it in a, I will want to be one day. But for now, you got me. So there is this one movie where I think it's Topical Thunder, something like that. Where Robert Downey Jr. is playing a role of a black man. I think who's a guide in a jungle, something like that. The time we live today, that kind of an artistic liberty is not allowed to a random man. A white man, for the artistic expression and liberty, whatever, won't be playing role of a black man. We have suppressed that. We have taken that freedom from the artist now for whatever XYZ reason. And so it is a reflection of rigidness that is rigidness that the collective is embracing in. It's allowing and making sure the white artists don't play role of black people on screen.
Now that's interesting because 100 years ago we had minstrel shows where white people would dress up in blackface and play black men, and that was done in fraternity hazing and all kinds of things, even within my lifetime. And I remember my father being in a minstrel show one time about 60 years, 70 years ago almost. But now that's verboten. And if a white man wants to put on blackface today, boy, you're in trouble in this country.
Sure. So, and I am actually unwilling to analyze it. I just want to give my presence to it and let it be the way it is. It's like an art. You can't change it. It's somebody else's art. You can see it, you can make your own interpretation, and you can keep debating is Mona Lisa is smiling or she's not smiling or she's too fat for, but still, whatever, we can contemplate upon it, but it is done. In another pattern we see is the influx of collective energy that artists become subject to, and channel it through him or her. And I think that is why any Indian spiritual system, the practices are physical practices. The practices are not reading books and not believing in something, nothing. The practices are physical practices. Wake up at 4 a.m. and start, like, bow down to sun and do yoga. That's the practice. And what they are doing, they are emphasizing upon correcting this instrument. And I think even for the meditation, the bare minimum is to calm down analytical mind and let it flow through you. When we are in meditation, whatever thoughts are coming, the basic thing we are taught is that let it fly, let it flow through you. Don't interact with them. They are entity of their own. We have to, if we block them, then there is no meditation happening. So I love Jung. I love him. I love him from the bottom of my heart. But he is analyzing. He's not meditating. Maybe he's meditating upon something, but he's not. It's like a water is in a glass, and then we are scientifically analyzing the water. Like, Young know that he picked up this water from the ocean. Young know that it is only water that knows everything that happened from the beginning of time.
Right. So Jung said in the Red Book that in order to find your soul, you can find it in desire itself, but not in the objects of desire. In other words, you can desire the sculpture that we have next to us here that Tim has done, and we can desire that, but our soul, Tim's soul, is in that sculpture, not ours. And so we can't find our soul in an object of desire. We can find it in our own desire for that piece, right? But we can't find our soul in the piece itself. It's in our own desire.
Yeah, but I can debate it. It's a separation. The lens is in reality there is actually no difference in everybody who is there and me and the animals. It's a one soul. In reality there is no separation. In reality we all pee and poop and breathe and get irritated with certain kind of noises and don't get irritated with suddenly we our tolerance level increase if we love somebody suddenly, just, and it is common in animal as well. So so sure our desires are unique and separate, but ultimately we are one. uh, we are one soul. The the, the, the second thing which I wanted to um, point towards, rather not explain or anything, I want you guys to see is is the capacity of artist to be the subject of collective influx or divine influx, maybe. um in again in Indian mythology, uh, it is said that what is observing you is changing you. You are being changed and you are being built or deconstructed by the way you are observed through. And I think that is where um uh the very idea of women want to cover their body, cover their face, it is at the root of it. And if of course in Western culture it is seen as oppression, and women not having freedom, walking naked is a freedom. um, um, but it but this is where this is where the at least in Eastern culture that I am uh, that I grew up in comes from. um, because it is said here that we have one saying here. It says, spare me from your unholy gaze and thoughts. Women uh, women of a high class uh, use this phrase normally. These are the graceful ladies who are out in the world, and they very clearly stated, spare me from your unholy gaze and thoughts, because it have impact. It have a subtle impact. And in a in unconscious or a conscious way, I'm not sure, but when we observe art, uh, we allow that unconscious penetration in our own psyche. It's like a reading a poetry, and sometimes you can't stop crying. um, and that penetration is either can be psychological, spiritual, mental. It But what, from the artistic perspective, what kind of is prohibited, and what kind of production, if you make, it's punished. We don't have those kind of boundaries, especially in the Western It's like some certain kind we know, especially in American. This is an American phenomena. We know that lots of young 27-year-old musician kill themselves. It's a phenomena. It's a phenomena. There are documentaries on it that why at the age of 27 artists die, especially in the music industry. How much stimulation is okay, and after what point we should stop it? After what point we should not allow capitalization upon it? Those boundaries are not defined, and these children are paying price for it just because they are extremely creative and in lots of cases musical genius. We don't know at which level it becomes prostitution. Psychic, spiritual, mental, but we don't know which point indulgence into pleasure and amusement is holy, and at which point it is a prostitution. We know physically when it happens, and like in the physical phenomena when women are whatever, um, but those boundaries in the artistic field are not defined. In a physical realm it is very clear. Of course we are doing the same thing with animals, and we are actually capitalizing upon it, the way milk is produced, the way meat is produced. We are capitalizing upon the most fundamental feminine power, collective feminine power of reproducing and giving milk and nurturing through the bare body, giving birth to something through the bare body, and we have industrialized it and capitalized upon it. And it's not worshipping of a divine feminine. It's prostituting divine feminine because we are capitalizing upon it.
So I have to admit that I misunderstood what you were going to talk about, because you were talking about retrieving of the feminine. And from this perspective, you're talking about if the feminine is not treated properly, it wants to leave this place, this body, whatever it is. Whereas, the great interest of, intelligent American women is the recovery of the feminine into society and seeing it in society more. I'm not the expert on this, so I'm going to shut up and ask my fellows here who are.
Yeah. Before that, I wanna add last thing, and maybe you guys can maybe we guys can talk about it further together. But without willing reception, all penetration is rape. In the feminine principle. So that was the last thing I wanted to say. So when, let's say, when
So,
painting
Khushboo, could you repeat that, because I couldn't quite hear and
earlier I was suggesting, I'll try to explain it further. Earlier I was saying that all that we do for our amusement and pleasure, using the energies that we have. We don't know. Let's say maybe you're writing a novel or making a painting. Not it's it, not only on how it plays out on the physical level, but also on the mental and spiritual. We are doing something using our energy, um, uh, for our amusement and pleasure. What is the boundary? When it becomes prostituting that energy, uh, we don't know that. We don't know that, and that is why I was trying to connect to that, is because that is abuse of divine feminine within, the retrievals happens. So that is why these mega superstars commit themselves, kill themselves, rather. So in the end, I wanted to say, and which I said already, is that any penetration that is not doesn't meet willing reception becomes rape. Even if it is part artistic thought level, it becomes invasion. And that is why sometimes we don't know how we hurt somebody, but they are sulking. That is why that unconscious intervention we do, that is why people and kill themselves. So yeah, that's what I said, that without
I have it now. So let's give the ladies here an
willing.
I want to give the rest of our audience an opportunity to speak with you and interact, Khushboo. So I'm going to shut up for a minute. And you want to go ahead?
I like the way you're thinking about this, Khushboo, especially when you were saying that we can meditate to do, and then we can go do our art and have a wonderful time. But that to me seems to be tied into the boundary, the idea of setting a boundary in the very beginning, that my intention is during this meditation and the preparation for doing something, doing a work of art, that my intention is to hear or be a vehicle for the collective. That's a very nice boundary to begin with. And then that can take off, and I can forget that and forget the boundary and go over the top with just a good time with my ego. Does that make sense to you, or am I hearing you?
Yeah, it does make sense. It does make sense. I would Ego is not tabooed in from where I come from. Like even in the Jungian, ego is not tabooed. Um, it's just a survival mechanism. It is just seen important as having a thumb. Um, it is as important, and as it has as equivalent evolutionary importance as having a thumb. Um, of course, it can come in between. We are like this, that is why we can't fly. We have hands, we don't have wings.
Khushboo, it's something like we can have talent to perform an art, whatever it is. It can be music, and then we find out that other people like that art, and if we maintain our holy relationship with our own psyche, then we can perform it successfully. But if we get carried away and we say, and all of a sudden we're just performing so that we can have money to make us rich, famous, that sort of thing, all of a sudden that loses its energy. And this is your idea of why 27-year-old artists kill themselves, because they actually get carried away. Their psyche gets carried away, and they can no longer control it. They lose the boundary. Is that a decent synopsis of what you're saying?
It can be, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, go ahead.
Well, I just, after that thought, that's when it becomes prostitution.
Yeah, obviously, that's
Right.
what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other, Khushboo, thank you so much. You raised some very, very profound questions for me. And I want to mention one, which was when you said, when you talked about the feminine being suppressed, and that a woman will not jump up and start fighting against that or defending that. And I think you were saying that not doing that is, in fact, a creative act, because it is the nurturing of that very woman who was suppressed. I don't know if I understood that correctly or not, but I think I did, and I think I like that point, that when the feminine is suppressed, there could be like a knee-jerk reaction to jump into defending herself, and which would end up in a prostitution-like spending of the woman's energy, rather than a more authentic spending of her own energy. So I don't know if I made all that up or if you actually said that.
You get it. You get it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And why do I was thinking today, I was thinking quite a lot that how do I present this in a flowery manner, in more and I'm like, oh my God, what the hell? I'm also doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's it's like when it's like wanting to not have blood around in the time of labor.
Yeah. You're reminding me, Khushboo, in terms of your difficulties that you've had today, and your temperature and all that. It's reminding me of the last time that Professor Jung came to the United States was in 1937. And he was very famous by then. He was already 62 years old. And they had organized this big dinner for him at the Waldorf Hotel, or I'm sorry, at the Plaza Hotel in New York, which is right on Central Park. And all these very wealthy, famous people were present. And the projection operator was totally incapable. And so he ran into all sorts of roadblocks to what he was going to say that night. And then he started to speak extemporaneously, just from his heart. And he started to speak about Jesus. And he told the story of how Jesus was an orphan. And I'm not going to tell any more of the story right now, but Lawrence Jaffe, who recounted it in his book, Liberating the Heart, said that we're so grateful for the problems that he ran into because it caused him to speak from his heart and to speak extemporaneously about what he wanted to say that night. And we were so grateful to that projectionist. So, notwithstanding, and I know you've had trials in the last couple of days, but notwithstanding all that, I'm very grateful that you today spoke to us from your heart.
Yes, yeah.
And Deb would like to say something to you also.
Hi, Khushboo. I was really struck by what you said about how the feminine, when it is not honored, not respected, not appreciated, chooses to retreat. And I was struck by the fact that it is a choice. And it may seem like a really dark choice to people looking from the outside and from society. And of course, in some ways, it is a dark choice to kind of withdraw from life. But on the other hand, there's this almost generosity to it. The withdrawal creates this womb-like space. It's almost like a second chance for the people who aren't honoring, aren't respecting, to say, oh, that's what it's like to not have that feminine spirit and presence and principle. Well, I don't really like that. I would like that back, actually, and maybe I should honor it. So it just struck me that there's not only a choice there, but there's a gift there in saying, I'll give you another chance to see that maybe this is something you haven't understood that you should recognize and honor in some way. And so that's what came up for me, and I was wondering what your reaction is to that. Have I read more into it than you intended?
No, not at all. In fact, the story that the brief story that I said when the Sitama, which is the incarnation of goddess Lakshmi, when she retrieves, and she is the daughter of earth, and she retrieves into the earth. Earth is the most potent womb-like space we ever have known, right? Everything spring forth from there. Absolutely.
Mother, yeah.
Yeah, Malkut. In the Tree of Life, it is the Malkut, 10th Sofirat. Yeah, absolutely. It does give space to the new.
Yes.
Yeah. Its unwillingness to participate is full stop. It's like rhythms of your body unwilling to participate. It means that you are dead body. There is a new newness to it from what it was.
Yeah. Which is right
So
where we
even-
are.
Yeah, we're
It's right where we are.
I mean, it's incredible for you to mention Malkuth because
It would have been nice if you guys would have mentioned that I forgot to turn on the lights here.
We saw plenty of lights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
we saw the light.
Yeah.
Sherry, do you have any thoughts you want
No, for me, it's kind of interesting. I came in a little late, so I didn't catch a lot of this. But when I do my work, I think I come from the feminine and don't think about it at all. It's like I grew up in the late 60s, early 70s when it was women's lib and women were gaining their power. And I've never really played with the separation of this is masculine, this is feminine. And I lived in a certain way of a masculine life, going back to the land and gardening, and then kind of left that and lived a more feminine life. You know, I'm very retreated, especially with COVID. And so it feels like my art comes out of the oneness more than thinking about this is feminine and masculine. And yet I'm reminded that I guess I look feminine or act feminine, but it's just such a natural thing that I don't really feel like I need to describe it as feminine and masculine, but more of the oneness. And I love when you talk about calming down the island of my mind. That is how I begin, coming from poetry and meditation and the ends of the practice of being in the circle and the. So I feel I'm right with you without having dissected it and able to talk about it. So,
So, Khushboo, you've been talking for an hour, and it's 12:30 at night there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
wonderful.
very moved by what you said, and I want to thank you so much for being with us today. And
Is there something you want to express? Something that is coming to you right now?
well, I'm just very grateful because this confluence has been coming together for a year. We've been working on it. And to have such a profound conversation as the opening for our discussions today and tonight and over this weekend. And Sherry is we're going to talk about Malkuth in our play on Sunday night. And so she's being presented with that idea. And so it's quite a synchronous to hear you mention Malkuth in our discussion, and I'm very grateful for that.
and because of Skip's relationship to you, you've been a part of this. This whole time, it's always like, and Khushboo, and you follow your story. Yeah, all right, it's like you're with us. So I just want to thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I am part of it. I am part of it. And I think one last thing which I want you guys to um to know that I had to figure this out for myself, because I was that person who was Shakti wanted to leave. Like I was just so unsatisfied in this body. Hurting rather is a better word to say. And it was only through artistic expression that I was able to even describe it to myself that what is happening to me.
Yes.
Not even to other people. Like that's very far, even to my own self. And
Yes.
so I think as Debbie said, right, that it is it is the same space. It's, of course, it will kill you, but of course it will kill you. It's like, but it will take you everywhere. Of
Yeah.
course it will kill you, but that is the only thing which will take you everywhere. It's like that flight.
As long as you maintain the boundaries, right?
As long as you maintain the boundaries, you can have a dance, you can have a kiss, you can have a song, you can have lot of things. You can also have a rape. um so and everything is expressed through the body. The conception happened in the psyche or in the spiritual realm, but it is expressed through the body. And um, suicide is about abandoning this body, not wanting to be with it. So the creative expression is the expression is wanting to be blocked. um, and those kind of spaces we don't have even words for. um, we have not come up with those are still tabooed. And I wanted to start our conversation today uh, with little bit of what is happening with me, like right now. Even like yesterday, it took me real good time, efforts, and like literally tolerance from people, like and love from people, to maintain this body. But somebody tried to invade it yesterday. um, um, and I was like, I didn't know how to react as like 32-year-old person. That man was like literally like trying to grab me, and I am that person who can fight. I am that person who can like break bones. I have done that. um but I was frozen in that moment. And so my mind and psyche are strong. I kept operating normally. Immediately 15 minutes after that happened, but I'm having a fever today. Everybody else asked me, I'm really sorry, but you are acting like a gun today and you are shooting us. Because my tolerance is like, I'm not loving, which is I'm very regular. Like normal people know me as a very nice, loving, good morning, hi, hello saying person. It's like my staff told us, we are scared of you, what happened to you? But I didn't say anything. I just, so when so this was a very minute thing. Like I can really destroy that man's life if I want to. It is an old man, got stuck in his impulse, and I can choose to forgive him. I can give him a lesson or destroy his life. Like I can really do it. Like I can just go and tell his wife, and his marriage will get over. He's a 75-year-old man. His son, and they will either they will abandon him or they'll say, "Oh, you are a bitch." What I'm trying to tell you is that, see, even without me telling, you guys are the first person, like I'm talking about it openly. um uh but other people got to know, people who love me got to know that there's something wrong with it, like something happened to you. And that is the space, the equivalent impact art also have on people. because that also penetrates. Sometimes willingly, unwillingly, I think I'm now I'm looping in my head. So that is what I wanted to tell you guys. That is why I wanted to share with you. And this is what I said, that I tamed it down. But it
Are you
has.
better now? Are you
Sorry,
better
say that.
now?
Yes, yes, of course. Um I told myself that I'm not that fragile.
Yeah. Mm.
I'm
We've
no
seen the
longer.
transformation in you just during this hour.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Khushboo.
Thank you so much for launching our event.
Blessings.
Blessing to you, yes, thank you.
Thank you. I didn't hear anything from Sir Tim.
Tim is at another event. Part of our event is going to these great, huge stones that are 57 feet high out in the mountains, and nobody knows how they got there or what they are. They can't be explained. And so he has taken a small party of us out there. It requires a hike, so we're at least Debbie and me and maybe Colleen are not able to get up to that place. So Tim has led a group out there, and he'll be back shortly. But unfortunately he didn't get to hear this, but I'm sure he will listen later. We're recording it on his computer, so he's got it.
Sure.
We can gather with Khushboo again.
Yeah, we very much
I
would
will
like
love to. I will love to. At least in the closing ceremony. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, till next time,
Yes,
thank you.
thank
Well,
you,
Khushboo,
thank
well.
you, thank you so much, Khushboo, and
God bless you. God
we
bless.
hope you can get back to sleep now.
No, I'm gonna. No, I'm gonna work actually. Um I have a bulk order, so I'm gonna probably not sleep now for 40 hours.
Oh
Most
boy.
probably. I don't know. I have never pulled anything like that. And then everybody's like, you are young, you should do it. I'm like, I don't care.
Uh, well, those are good problems to have, Khushboo.
Those are good problems to have. Amen to that.
Watch your boundaries.
Yeah, watch your boundaries, and God bless you, and thank you so much for being with us today.
You guys, I wanna end this with the prayer actually, because we have opened a few spaces that are hard to look at, that are difficult to digest. So I just wanna say my favorite prayer, that is called Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. It's
Yes,
just
please.
us asking for well-being and prosperity of all the planets, and each body is considered as a planet in our vocabulary. So the word for the person and a word for the planet is the same person, same word. It's lok. Um, so I just recite that mantra for 3 times, and you guys can just participate and join, and then I'll end it after that.
Okay, thank you, Khushboo.
Okay. लोका समस्ता Sukhino bhavantu loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu loka samasta Sukhino bhavantu Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you so much, Khushboo. Yeah, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm in tears. So thank you for being with us tonight. God bless you. Good luck with your big order. Peace.
God bless you. God bless you all.